2, 1. Hey everyone, we are live.
It's Michael and
Matt. Oh, jeez, yeah, unreal.
What a drama. And
Deej, who are you?
Deej.
I was listening on to here going, oh please, audio, please.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, let me know if you can't hear me because it's doing a bit of a. This is absolutely going down midstream.
We're running on hay band and sticky tape over here at the
Yeah, it's
moment.
good. Yeah.
Hey, I got to work with what Ruben left me. Come
That's
on.
Yeah, Chuck Ruben under the
Ruben,
bus.
come back. All is forgiven. Well, sort of.
Make sure you bring the stuff. That's all I care about right now.
So the problem is, not only do we have our normal technical issue with the NBN at the moment, but Ruben's taken a lot of the gear with him over to Germany and the UK to shoot some videos and edit stuff over there. So we're kind of batting with the B team on equipment.
A team on enthusiasm though.
That's the one. That's
what it counts for. Yeah, it does look a bit dark. Someone said it looks dark. I agree.
I think it's because it's so bright back here.
Put the blind down a bit.
Yeah, maybe if we take that down a bit. Here we go, live TV.
Yeah, let's have a look. See, that has
We'll
an
see if
impact.
that does anything to it. Probably makes us go black.
Now we need to wait for the delay.
Yeah, no, it's a bit brighter.
Okay.
You're not looking so pasty now, man.
Wow, yeah, that's odd. Yeah, given I got sunburn the other day.
That's
Yeah,
you
this is
sunburned,
good.
is
Yeah,
it?
this is
Jeez.
tan as I get.
All right, we are so far off topic. We're already talking
All
about
right,
some
yeah. What is topic? Bullion.
Well, where have you been, mate? You've been hiding for a while.
I don't actually know the specific whereabouts, but I was at the beach, a beach location.
You've been on holiday, have you?
No, it was Mum's birthday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did the classic old pretend no one cares. She bought into it, got real sad, and then we took her out to a beach house for 3 days.
Excellent.
Yeah, she was very happy.
Ah, good
I
stuff.
hate doing that though. I really struggle with the lead up.
Yeah.
Because I call her every day, and I didn't call her in the whole week leading up to it because I knew I'd whiff it. And I'd say, I'll see you on the weekend, you got your bags packed. I'm no good with surprises.
Yeah, we
like
never
that.
tell Matt any secrets around here.
Yeah, that's why, because customers come in and they say, oh, you know, what's coming up? And I say, I couldn't tell you, because if I would, I could. What's been happening in my absence? Some excitement, I hear. Some Libertads.
Yeah, well, the Libertad's arrived. They caused a bit of a flurry.
I even saw that on, man, it's all the way over to Facebook. So I was cruising around and saw something, BN's name up in lights.
Yeah. So surprisingly not as much pushback as I thought we'd get because they weren't, well, let's face fact, the 1/20th, you were paying $600 an ounce.
That's sort of Robert Kiyosaki's dream spot price, if all came to a head. Jeez.
Yeah, so it was full on. And I expected a lot more pushback from it.
Yeah.
But, we really, people were pretty understanding of it all, which I said on the Wednesday live stream, I said I was almost a little bit disappointed because I was all keyed up for the,
you came
the
in
premium fight.
with your armour on.
And it kind of never went anywhere. It's like, oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
And I did see that because I noticed on some of the threads when people were discussing it on Facebook, I thought, oh, geez, this could get real hairy. And then people would say, well, Michael has explained in the past how these things work and, the demand was there, but the premiums will be high. And so it is what it is. And people just said, oh, yeah, that's fair enough. So it's kind of, a bit underwhelming on all fronts.
But yeah, look, I mean, what actually shocked me was because one of my secret bullets was going to be particularly the 2020 1 ounce Libertad because we were charging 75, 76, 77 somewhere in there dollars per ounce. And before we listed our pricing, I compared everything back to the US. So there were 3 main dealers in the US and just made sure we were kind of fairly fair on it. Our 2020s, like I said, were around that 76, 77. Australian an ounce. In the US, they sell them for 79 US an ounce. So we actually should have been charging $120 an ounce for them for the 1 ounce 2020. So it was, it was kind of all over the shop.
That's wild. You almost feel the need to put little BN certs, little numbered certs from the historic event.
So yeah, it was good fun. The one that I was disappointed with was the 5 ounce because we did list that at, like I said, an equivalent price, and we actually made no money on the 5 ounce. That was pretty much wholesale price.
Really? Jeez.
And flaming one company. Oh no, I'll mention it. So LPM actually launched some pretty much at the same time,
Yeah.
and they were about $100 cheaper, and they must have had about like 5 in stock because they sold out like
Wow.
that. But yeah, so that caught me on the hop a little bit. But
Well, swings and roundabouts.
yeah, so all good.
Is indeed.
So while we're on topics of you being away, they tell me you're away again. He's
Feels
back
so
for
bad.
2 days, and he's off
Such
like a shot again.
it's a terrible look, as I'm, trying to tell you what a great job I've been doing, and on the few days I'm here, it's good. I didn't trust.
Oh, both of them.
yeah, both the days I'm here this month. Jeez,
So where are you going to be for the next?
Well,
period of
not
time?
at the World Money Fair. I'll be swanning around at home with a newborn baby.
So
Yeah.
the imminent arrival is due.
Yep. So I'll be a dad. So I'm very excited.
So
and
the next time you see Matt on camera, he'll have
look at
big
the
bags under his
yeah, look
eyes.
at them.
He'll be white as a ghost, looking like those cartoon characters, hair up here.
I'll be dropping in and out of the conversation, saying what? Well, I already do that in these streams. I sort of lose track of what we're talking about if I have a thought. So it's going to get worse, yeah. So enjoy this, the last
Vaguely intelligent.
coherent stream that you can get out of me.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Very excited. Can't wait.
All the best for Maria.
Yeah.
She's probably going to be doing the work for the next
Yeah,
period of
she's-
time.
Yeah, she's already done, everything, and then set up the house, and it's
Yeah.
non-stop. But and it's like, I imagine I'll have that opportunity once I do have a little one helping me clean the house. With a lot of the setup, I want to get involved, but I just make it more difficult. Say, what if we get one of these? No, it's like, we absolutely do not need that thing. It's got nothing to do with a baby. You're in the motocross section at Kmart. Right. We're talking about a newborn.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
All right,
so far, so good.
we better drag this vaguely back on topic, hadn't we? So look, for those that are tuning in for the first time, we're not usually this crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, actually,
Yeah.
we probably are. So now is the chance just to, in a more relaxed atmosphere, just kick back, listen to some gossip from the industry in general. You'll find Matt and I usually enter some form of heated debate at some point over some pointless
Some trivial
coin
thing
argument.
that only we could care about.
That's right. But yeah, it's a chance for you to also ask a question. Now, we will get through as many as we can, but please understand there's a number of questions that do come through, so we may not be able to hit every single one of them, but we will hit as many as we can. All right, somebody got a question for us.
Timeline for the new alien design.
Well, the boys in Berlin have already seen the new Alien.
I thought I saw it, or maybe I dreamt it.
Yeah,
Has it not been out?
don't
This is the
think it's-
Scottsdale one, the next in the series from the.
I don't know if the image has actually been released to the wider world. Let's have a
Seen it
look.
in my dreams during an abduction.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, let's go straight to stock.
Yep, I'm
Scottsdale.
absolutely telling fibs. Oh no, although is that not it?
No, that's the 22. Surely they're releasing the 23. Oh no, maybe they're not.
I haven't seen that before.
Nah, that's an old one.
Well,
I'm
why
sure
didn't
of
we
it.
ever get that then?
I
Did
think
we only get the 2021?
We only got the 2021s. We had enough of a hard time
Oh,
getting those.
maybe. So we missed the 22s.
Yeah. So the 23s,
We'll have to
I
get a flock of
believe.
them.
I'm just trying to. Oh no, it'll take me too long to hunt back through Ruben's messages and see. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the 23 badged one that they've been
Okay.
talking about. So, Monotremata. As far as I'm aware, there is no Libertad capsule for the 2 and the 5 ounce. We could bring in a generic, but again, like that all adds to the cost. So, we're doing them in OEMs, as in the original equipment manufacturer's design. They supply them as raw coins. And in fact, you'll actually find most bullion coins that you buy come raw. Bullion Now is an unusual company in that we do offer capsules free with a lot of our coins, and times like this, it actually bites us on the backside where people have an expectation that they will come in a capsule when actually they don't. And quality, you can buy any capsule and stick a coin in it, but you're taking a risk of damaging the coin with the whatever the plastic's made of. So we're really careful about just bringing in capsules. We want to make sure that they're not going to taint the coin over time, so as best we can anyway. So yeah, it was decided that we weren't going to go through the whole process of trying to source decent capsules for them and then add to the additional cost and all that sort of stuff.
I find that to be an impressive little service that we offer. If people are buying a few coins in store, people are often surprised that we put them in a capsule when they're otherwise not presented in them, because it's a bit of a time-consuming thing, particularly if you've got a queue and we do that sort of thing. So, pat on the back for Bullion Now. I think that's a very nice service that we offer from time to time.
Yeah. Look, it's good, but. Everything at the end of the day, every service you add, somewhere it has to be paid for. When we try
it all adds up.
We try and keep our prices as competitive as we possibly can, and we try and hit the top marks for service. But sometimes, you kind of got to go, well, is that a stretch too far?
Lindsay Hamlet wants to know if there's any news on the Charles III Brits. Have we ordered those?
There is an order in the system, but
However,
I haven't.
It's up in the air.
Yeah, I haven't. I certainly haven't received tracking information or anything like that. So I'd say we're at least a month, but I reckon we're longer away from actually getting those landed in store.
I'm very curious to see what production quantities come out of that, and I'll speculate. This is not mintage advice. I would imagine we'll see far fewer of the Elizabeth portraits, because I imagine that was just a bit of a like an interim solution while they were implementing the new dies. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Queen Elizabeth portrait 2023 Britannias are a hot ticket item in future.
Yeah, with a pick. Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Maybe they did heaps with that in mind and they wanted to meet demand, and then, I don't know.
Unless the dies blow up in the next month, I'd say that, they've got 12 months of production time. I'd say they'll be cranky, because they've said they won't produce any more Queen Lizzies.
Yeah.
So basically the rest of the year's production will be these King Charles. So I think you're 100% right.
Interesting times ahead, I'm sure.
Yeah. The big question is, when will Perth Mint launch one?
Yeah, well, I haven't actually heard anything. Have you heard any whispers of the implementation of the new effigy?
The rumour is that they're not going to look at it until the start of the 2024 production coins.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, we say that and people go, oh, that's not till next year. You got to remember that the release of the 24 Lunar will be in August. So we're only talking 7 months down the track.
It's going to be Easter next week, and then before you know it, Christmas is here, and
that's right.
the year's gone.
The conversation has already started in my house about, Christmas and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, hang on, we've only just finished the last Christmas.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Right, so what else have we got in here? Must be some more pretty good questions.
Some people have been talking about like the Cooks and Koalas of this year's design. Any news on those?
So the Cooks are out, the 1 ounce Cooks. They've been out since a little while. The Koalas, I can actually give you an exact launch date on those.
Have we seen them? Have we seen the images of those?
I've seen the image. I can even show you the image.
Can everyone see them?
No.
I tried. See, I always try. This, again, you're seeing it live, why I don't get advance information.
So they're under embargo until the 1st of March. So we can't even place wholesale orders for them yet.
Oh, really?
Should I show you the photo, or are you going to tell everyone?
I'm not going to say anything. I like it. I really like that.
The only thing I don't like is, we can't say too much for legal reasons, obviously, but no, I'm not actually going to even say that.
I'm not going to say anything else. I just say that I really like it.
I like the design. There's one little bit I think they could have tweaked, but the rest of it, actually, I think it's quite a good design. So there you go.
Very good. So we got an, when's embargo for that? When are we going to start?
1st of March.
Just around the corner.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks, and we can start displaying it and taking orders. So 1st of March, they've kind of Traditionally, they usually give you your order date, your embargo date, and then a release date, a week or two down the track. So it gives you time to get everything in and talk to people about it. You can take pre-orders at that point. They've actually, and I don't really know why, but they've actually compressed them all onto the same day now. So we technically can't talk about them until the 1st of March. We can't take pre-orders till the 1st of March. And they are now available on the 1st of March for sale. We can only order them the week before. And knowing the whole transit system from Perth Mint, we're not going to see them until the middle of March anyway. So it kind of, I don't like the way Perth Mint's doing this. They're kind of cornering the dealers into being where, we can't kind of do anything with them. And people panic and they buy them from the Perth Mint thinking, I don't want to miss out. I've got to get them from Perth Mint.
Yep.
Because Perth Mint's obviously got them in their shop on day one. The rest of us suckers don't get them for a fortnight.
This is true. I hadn't thought about it like that, but it does. I felt like something had to give with the difference between the embargo versus release date versus that actual receiving date, because that seemed to always be like the bane of every coin dealer's existence was having the phone ringing off the hook and saying, I think we're getting them tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes a week later, and by that time your reputation's getting dragged through the mud, and you're saying, I did everything right, I placed the order on time. I was ahead of the deadline with ordering, but once you put freight into the mix, which is can be hit and miss, geez.
We had with the Kookaburras, we were one of the first to have our orders in.
Yep.
I'd actually placed it over the weekend. So it was there at 9 o'clock Monday morning when they opened.
Yep.
We were still 3 weeks after launch date before we actually got the flaming
Yeah, that's got to count for something. You need to get reliability points credit for being ahead with your orders, because I can imagine for them as well, it's also a circus when you have dealers coming in at the 11th hour saying, hang on, it was in a stack of paperwork. I need to order a few thousand.
Yeah.
And changes everything for them, but... Yeah. Oh, jeez. What questions have we got? I'm getting us off topic.
Yeah, you definitely are. We're not taking pre-orders on the Britannias at this stage. I want confirmation of shipping again, kind of leading on from the conversation Matt and I were just having. I guarantee you if I say, we'll take a pre-order, we're expecting them by the 1st of March, I'll guarantee you that they'll turn up, like middle of May. And, you're getting cranky with me, you're on the phone, you're on email saying where the heck are they sort of thing. So we like to get definite shipping details. And even that with the internationals, I'm a bit cagey because customs can sit on them for 6 weeks, like they did with the Libras. They can sit on them for 6 weeks with no warning. So it's always a bit...
Apparently Perth have released the koala. The koalas are on the Perth Mint YouTube channel.
It's probably the proof, not the bullion.
Oh.
I would guess.
So we can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, if they've got them on there, then I'm happy to talk about it. I don't know why they bother having an embargo if they're going to release the design anyway.
They did this last time with another coin, didn't they?
Did it with the Lunas?
Yeah, the Lunas. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, and we had to say, can you believe the new design?
Like, it's just, I don't know what you're doing there, Perth Mint. You're confusing the living daylights out of us.
So two different departments that don't get on so well.
Yeah, it's the Clayton's embargo. Like, when is it actually an embargo? When you've already released the design and we just can't talk about it on a bullion coin? I mean, give me a break here. So my comment was there are 2 koalas on there. There's a baby on Mum's back and Mum's looking a bit frustrated.
Oh, well. I'll tell you in a couple of weeks whether that's a valid expression for a mum.
I don't know. My sister-in-law can definitely run with that one.
So Gate's got a great question there. With Perth Mint being... Okay, I'm not going to read out that part. I'm not entering the legal realms. How do people get these first day of release or first strike PCGS slabbed ones?
So... The first release, my understanding of the first release PCGS stuff is they have a timeline. I think it's about a week. It's either a day, 24 hours, or a week, and you need to have, I believe, submitted your coin for grading within that time frame. So they don't necessarily have to have it, but you need to prove that you've submitted it within that really narrow window to get your little first strike or first day release. What's the word? Label on your slab, or sometimes they do custom slabs for various coins. I imagine it's predominantly for Perth coins, it's people in Perth that go to the mint, get it and fire it off that same day, because like I said earlier, like, you know, I imagine even with LCS stuff, it can sometimes be up to a week after the official release date
week?
that they even get it, let alone then getting it onto you.
Yeah.
Look, if I'm totally honest, a potentially controversial opinion, those first day release things, it's a bit of a gimmick. That's one thing. We butt heads, Michael and I, about some of the PCGS and all the grading stuff, but I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
That's a bit of a marketing gimmick that for me, I like things like the privy marks and things like that, and that's more so like the Royal Australian Mint. I think they did with the Mob of Ruse dollar. They've done World Money Fair privy marks and stuff like that. So. And I think for me, if I had have gone to an event like that, if you go to the event and you get the thing from the event, it takes on the sentimental value, and it's a bit of fun, and it's a good novelty in that regard. But to bend over backwards, you know, to jump in your car from Melbourne and motor all the way to Perth to get your coin on the first day, to get that little label is a stretch. And I would also speculate, purely just one guy's opinion, it may not go gangbusters. I haven't seen people bending over backwards to pay through the nose to get a first day release. Although, who knows? Maybe in time it'll take off.
So I've got two questions for you.
Hit it.
Do you think that the mints, and in this case I'm referring to the Perth Mint Berlin Money Fair, like World Money Fair coin, do you think they should be available from other dealers, or should they only be available from the World Money Fair?
That is a really good question, and I've never thought about it until right now, and I already have an opinion on that. I think it should. I think it should only be available at the World Money Fair.
Totally agree.
Possibly, my one, if you were to bend that rule, if you didn't want to be completely firm on it, you need to physically go and place your order at the World Money Fair if you're a wholesaler. You can't remotely email in your order for 100 or whatever you want.
Yeah. This is coming from a guy who owns a shop that actually, you know, like bought them from the Perth Mint. They were shipped to us. They never actually got to Berlin. Okay, so I'm being a little hypocritical here. Yeah. I totally agree that they should only be available from the Perth Mint stand at the World Money Fair.
And I think, and I agree with that, because there is an aspect of it that there's actually a gentleman, and this is, I'm going to go on a slight tangent. I'll be brief. I'll try and keep it under.
Doesn't sound like
under an hour. There's a gentleman named Ian Bolton. He runs a Perth coin fair, and he does custom PNCs for his coin show. And with one of them, they had a race car, and he had organised for a race driver to do a few hot laps in some special collectible race car with the PNCs in the boot of the car.
I love it.
Yeah, stuff like that. And I just think that is incredibly well thought out, and it's just a very clever, quirky thing. And so in that same sense, if I have a coin from the Berlin World Money Fair, I want to know that it was in the room and it was part of the event. And you're right, if it's gone from Perth to Melbourne to your collection, other than the label, it doesn't really have any tangible connection. So
the argument could be that it is still commemorating the event.
Sure.
But I still think, like, originally that's what they were designed for. They were a special thing to encourage you to come to our stand at the World Money Fair or at the Perth Anders Show or whatever it was. Yep. I think they're kind of sidestepping it quite a bit.
Yeah, it then just becomes another product rollout in that sense. They look great. The colours.
That was my second question.
So good.
What do you think?
I liked the Kookaburra design from the get go. I think having it's the Waratah, right? The red. Yeah. It looks so nice in that context, and the amount of colour was perfect. Yes. I was properly impressed.
They've nailed it with that one.
Yeah.
They really have. Like, I can't fault it.
Yeah.
My only comment, if I wanted to really pick on it, I'm being so over the top picking on it.
Yeah.
Like, there's slightly too much. The blue on the Kookaburra's wing is slightly too bright, and that's only because I was looking at a coin and looking at a Kookaburra next to each other. Sort of.
Was a Kookaburra on a bird bath?
No, it wasn't on the bird bath. It was on a fence post. But look, it's just. That would be my only, and that's ridiculous. Like, I'm really being ridiculous now. But, I totally agree. I think they should only be available there.
Yep. Or at the very least, very, very least, they have been at, like, the boxes were, and again, we're getting into the real semantics here, but have it, have the stock there, that'd be a logistical nightmare.
It's
All right, just sell it only at the show.
and I think
convinced me.
if you don't get them at, like, you know, they take, okay, it's a limited edition of 2,000. Yeah, they would have sold out in 2 minutes over in Berlin if they'd taken all 2,000 anyway.
Yep.
But let's say, for example, they only sold 1,500 of them. The other 500 get destroyed.
Or they go into a comparatively plain packaging and then get sold.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
and then,
against
yeah,
that
and
either.
then that's because the Royal Australian Mint used to do that with mint sets. You'd get the World Money Fair edition of a mint set, and that was a comparatively limited production. So if you didn't sell some, you can still sell them, but you just get a generic box, like a shipper box, plain or whatever.
Yeah.
What's going on, D?
I think we've done that to death.
Yeah, questions banking up over there.
I was just reading Drew Murray's. All we can do is live in hope and keep the idea alive so PM will take notice and hear the people and create a magpie swooping a bike helmet coin. Then give the people what they want.
Yeah, I love it.
Good. Yeah.
Totally agree. Somebody else was calling for the Bullion Now drop bear coin as well, so I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
We need to get that
absolutely.
done.
Australian Myths and Legends series.
That's the one.
This one's actually interesting, I guess. Will Bullion Now be at the Ando in Melbourne next weekend?
No. I had actually thought about doing that. And what are you going to do next weekend?
I'll be there. Yeah, flying solo. I know my
With a 6-day-old under wing.
No, I'll just be there by myself, scooting around, running the Ando table.
Probably the most rest you're going to get in the next week.
And I was laughing to Maria because that is the most. It's always the most stressful few days ever. That's when my phone explodes.
Yeah.
Baby was originally due that weekend, so that would have been no good. So things have worked out in that regard.
You bribed the doc to bring it on a week early.
Yeah, you wouldn't read about it. I've actually got a booking.
Hey, Maria's listening to this.
But yes, I will be there running the Understand. Fortunately, and it sounds counterintuitive, fortunately, there is no Royal Australian Mint release for this particular show. So normally there's about 4 or 5 specific releases, which causes me and my wife, who normally runs the table with me, you get a line of 300 people. It's like when we're on the world tour doing the bars on. It's just a never-ending line, and everyone starts to get impatient. But because of the effigy change and everything going on with the Mint, they haven't got a product for this event, so it's just the Perth Mint. So it's a Kookaburra and a PNC, the Year of the Rabbit. So with 2 products.
Is it a coloured Kookaburra?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with a helmeted honey eater privy mark.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, see, there's the reaction you expect, yeah.
That'll look great.
So, yeah, it will actually, with that Kookaburra design. So I'll be there by myself, hopefully with a lot of patient, tolerant punters that are happy to
work on that theory.
Watch me try and, bag up their PNCs as I'm driving the register, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
The Ando shows are always a lot of fun.
I'm glad you can still say that.
Yeah, well,
Because you get the stressful end of the stick.
I get it. I think, and stuff like that, and almost, I guess, similarly with when we did our world tour around Australia, those events are always really fun in the midst of it. Once the event's happening and people are enjoying themselves and you can see that all the work was worth it, it's great. But the lead up, I can take it or leave it. I'd rather leave it.
Yeah.
I hate the setup. It's very stressful.
Yeah. Phil T disagrees with us.
Oh, what's going on, Phil?
So I disagree with you, Matt and Michael, about the World Money Fair coin. You're buying the design and not the holiday that would go on to get there. By your logic, all Anzac coins should have been brought in Turkey.
Interestingly, there were a batch of coins. I think it may have been Perth Mint that did them, or it may have been a custom release that had actual sand from Gallipoli in a little vial and things like that. So
Was that? I'm trying to remember if that was Perth or Ram. Anyway, doesn't matter.
But yeah, things like that have been done, and I'll have you know that I find that kind of thing fascinating, Phil.
But I disagree slightly with what you're saying, because we're not saying that because it's a Berlin money fair. Like, it's not that series needs to be there. It's when you release a coin for that fair. So my argument would be, if the Anzac coin is the Anzac turkey edition.
Yeah.
That sounds like I'm being derogatory here, but I'm not. I'm meaning the turkey is the country. Or the Gallipoli edition. Yeah, it should be. But if you're releasing it, the Anzac Gallipoli edition for the Melbourne Ander show, then
Yeah.
absolutely it should be bought at Melbourne Ander. It's not that I'm saying you can't take that design and do it elsewhere. They're doing the coloured, sounds like they're doing the same coloured
Yep.
Cook design with a Honey Eater mint mark. So they're using the same design. I fully support it. But this one is the Melbourne Ander design of it, or version of it, and it should only be available from Melbourne Ander, which I believe it is.
It is, but there's also like Ander dealers will also get access to it. So
Yeah.
in the same sense, but I think the bulk of it ends up going at the show. So
I also probably don't have a problem with that because Ander is a conglomerate of
it
dealers.
is, yeah, that's right.
So to say, well, this is yours, you distribute it how you like.
Yeah.
We're doing it for the Ander team.
Yep.
So I kind of don't have as much of an issue with that one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you could then distribute. All right, here's what the Perth Mint need to do then. Whatever doesn't get sold at the World Money Fair goes to a Berlin-based, agreed-upon dealer. Yeah.
Yeah, I, as much as that would frustrate me as a dealer,
Bullion Now Berlin coming up soon.
I can see your logic.
Yeah.
Don't like it, but I can see it. Oh dear.
There's an error on the website, 404. What does that mean? I don't know what any of these numbers mean.
What a disaster. So I got a message actually from someone on last night at about 10 o'clock saying there's no products on the web, all we're getting is a 404 error. So we tracked it down and it took about 20 minutes, half an hour to track down what was going on. It seems that one of the plugins was updating, and so we could reset it. So what was done was we reset. We copied the previous edition of the website, made that active, and everything worked. And about 30 seconds later, it all went back to a 404 error. And what it ended up being was this plugin kept doing this update, and every time it did the update, it changed the location of our products. So the pointer was pointing in the wrong direction. So yeah.
Websites, who do them?
Oh mate, and why does it always happen at like 10 o'clock at night for crying out loud?
Absolutely.
When you're just
check
thinking
that,
of going to bed.
Yeah, perfect.
All hell breaks loose. So that was the explanation behind the 404 error. And I'm hoping that it hasn't reappeared since, but yeah.
Apparently people are getting it now, so sorry.
Oh, you've got to be joking
what a
me.
timely thing.
So let's have a quick squiz. And I know why, because I just gave, what we did, the solution to it was to actually do a write lock so it could no longer override it.
404.
All right, so we need to send a message.
The resource requested could not be found on this server. Jeez.
To fix.
Yeah, that's the usual one you get when you're trying to access, like, I'm pretty sure this is the URL for it, and you accidentally miss
Yeah.
up one letter or something like that.
All right, so I've sent a quick message off. Hopefully that will be repaired very, very quickly because we've just released, just a couple of hours ago, we released the epic buybacking video.
Maybe that's what's done. It's overloaded. Too many visitors.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's been a long time between big buybacking videos. It's nice to see something like that on the channel.
Yeah, it was. It was a good one. January is always buyback month. We've talked about that a couple of times. So
Yeah.
it meant we could drag it together and actually do one there. We've already, I looked just before we came online, there was already a couple of comments of, I just came into the store yesterday and you didn't have any. Buybacks, they're great and we love being able to supply them and they're certainly a core part of our business, but they come and go so fast, it's crazy.
It's very hard to explain that. When
Yeah.
someone said, it's almost to the extent, actually I will say it is to the extent where people have said, I'm interested in this thing, but they don't lock in an order and they just say, I'll think about it. Between going down to the ATM to get cash and coming back, I have to say, sorry, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like the second you walked out the door, someone had seen it on the counter and leant over and said, yep,
I'll take it.
yeah, just chuck that onto the order and we'll keep going.
It's not uncommon to have someone selling back over the counter and somebody behind them going, ooh, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, give us a chance here to actually finish the invoice.
The dust hasn't even settled.
That's right. So, yeah, it's one of those things. But, yeah, the buybacks are on. Is the buyback on the website, the 2013 Cooks? So the buyback 1 ounces with the 2013 Cooks.
Oh,
are
cool.
on there. So Yeah.
Matt, we got one directed at you. I've seen a couple of
I've
these.
seen like 3 come through. Were there secret promoters for this concert in the chat?
Pumpkins concert in April.
Yeah.
You going to it?
I would love to. So get a load of this. They're doing a tour. Obviously, fantastic band. But Billy Corgan is bringing his wrestling company as well. So there's going to be live wrestling and like a music festival. I'm all about it, but I don't know. The budget's going to be pretty shoestring for the foreseeable. So if anyone wants to buy me a ticket, I mean, I'm totally interested.
Hey, Michael, I think Rubens once did a Patreon.
No, we're not doing it.
Yeah, a little fundraiser. Yeah, no, it'd be a good tour.
Fundraiser for Matt's music fix.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's what we need. Any difference between the 22 and the 23 1-ounce silver Kangaroo?
Yes.
There is.
2023 has the I think the term that's being used generally is the memorial obverse. So it has the dates of Queen Elizabeth's reign, which was 1952 to 2022, which I think is a nice. I think they've done that tastefully.
I know that they set out to basically cover their butts of what the heck do we do with with the thing, but I think they handled it really, really well, and the design they came up with, like you said, was in good taste.
Yep.
It was quite respectful.
Yeah, they were sort of backed into a corner. They had to do something, but in the absence of being able to roll out the whole new effigy, I think, because they would have to. That'd be a whole new dial, wouldn't it?
It would be, but it's not a whole new send it back to the Buckingham Palace to get the approval because we're still using not we're using us, but we're using them, are still using the Jody Clark design. So it would have been far more streamlined, far more easy to get that approved and through the system than a whole new box and dice.
Different setup altogether. So do we think, so we're getting those, right, the 2023 Kangaroos?
Yeah, I think they're here.
Are they going to be a hot ticket item in future, do you think?
I don't because they are like there's a gazillion in one of them. And no one really collects Kangaroo silver
This is true.
of different years. 2015 is probably, if you want to call a hot ticket.
Yep.
But even then, I mean, if I stuck 2015s on the web, I don't think anyone would pay a premium for them.
Yeah.
Because they are so mass produced. 2015 being the first year they kicked off and the least number of them out there.
Yep.
But people don't buy Kangaroos because they collect coins. People buy Kangaroos because they want cheap 1-ounce silver.
Yep. Well, I'll be curious to see because it is a very minor alteration, but I don't know. Collectors are a strange bunch.
Yeah. But there's a difference between collecting and collecting.
This is true.
You know, like people collect all sorts of strange and wonderful things that aren't worth anything.
Spoons. I know a few spoon collectors.
You know, a mate of mine collects hats, like caps. And look, I mean, I know caps aren't cheap and all that sort of stuff, but, it would be pretty rare to get a collector's hat that would, go up continually in value. I'm sure there are some out there.
Yep.
But he just collects average, everyday,
Yeah, it's not like the Charlie Chaplin bowler hat that he wore in a specific film.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm sure there are people out there that go, oh, look, I'd like one of every year, but they're not going to pay $50 for a 1-ounce Kangaroo just because it's a 2019 or a 2023 or something like that.
Yep. Fair shake.
Wow. Have we gone off topic?
Who would have thought?
I get to get you guys back on topic. I have seen this one come up quite a few times. The 1-ounce rabbits of the dragon privy. Did we get any?
We don't have access to the dragon privy.
Yeah, that was I want to say a Swan exclusive. We're getting exclusives.
It's not a Swan exclusive, but it's one of the overseas companies, and I can't tell you which one off the top of my head, actually has the exclusive, and they allow Swan to access part of their allocation. So Perth Mint usually like it so that when they do an overseas one, that the overseas company gets the vast majority of it, but Perth Mint and another Australian dealer gets the leftovers, sort of thing. And we do it with the Quokka. We tie in with one of the overseas guys and we get the Australian distributorship for that.
So is the Quokka an ongoing series? So there's another one this year?
There is another one this year.
When's that coming out? No,
We don't actually know yet.
Yeah.
So it's funny. We're in, like, the last couple of years, I keep saying, who knows with Perth Mint because of the COVID and they've fallen behind and all this sort of stuff, and they're so far under the pump that we don't kind of know where it's blown out. Perth Mint have actually worked triple time and they're actually starting to catch up.
Really?
So we're kind of saying, well, they might meet their timetable this year. Yeah, but we've had this hold up with the effigy scenario.
Yeah.
So that's pushed it out. Like the koala, we're normally releasing the koala earlier in the year. Like January is release date for the koala.
Yeah.
November is release date for the Kookaburra. Well, we're in February and it's not going to be released till March. So
Yep.
they're ahead in production, but they're behind in effigies. So it's kind of like pushing
it's
us
not
all
one
over
thing,
the
it's
place.
another, yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a hard one. So yeah. I'm just reading messages about the website. So the website team are on it. So hopefully that will be up and running very, very soon. In fact, yeah, I'm still getting a 404 error on it, but hopefully not too long.
I've noticed that's only on the account page. I just went to bullionnow.com.au and I got
Yeah,
it.
so the homepage will go, but if you try and go to a product,
Yeah.
you get the 404. We
Here's
don't
one.
have any of Ram's most dangerous coins in. That's a series that I meant to grab and I'm going to say forgot. I didn't really forget. I just didn't get round to it.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah, the
things
website 404 at that time. 2 ounce rabbits, will they do better, worse, or the same as the 1 ounce long term? I don't know if this is gold or silver.
It'll be silver. What's your opinion on that?
I love them. I think they're really good. I like and I've said this, I never seem to shut up about this. I like an increased diameter in a planchet as opposed to like the Pideford style where you go thicker. So so for those that are unaware, the Pideford coins that you'll see on occasion have the same or a very similar diameter. So it looks like I don't have a coin here, funnily enough.
From the top, it looks like
Top
the same
down,
size.
yeah, it's the same size, but you look at it side on and it's double the thickness. But I like that the Perth Mint with the 2 ounce in the Lunar series go for a wider diameter. So the thickness is the same, but the actual coin itself physically appears larger when you're looking at it from the top down, you might say. So I've been hanging for we actually saw the chap that brought in that coin the other day, the kilo coin that was like the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah.
That was unreal. That was exactly I've been hounding. I haven't actually hounded them directly, but I've been whinging on this channel about
Whinging and moaning.
Yeah.
Jeez.
coins in general. I want to see bigger planchets, and it was almost the same diameter as like a 10 kilo. That one, it was quite thin, but it was really, really impressive. So, we haven't acknowledged the question from Backyard Bear here. Do they do better, the same, or worse than the 1 ounce?
I would say they do better than the 1 ounce.
I would agree with that as well.
Because everyone races out, because the 1 ounce is limited. You can only buy 300,000 of the silver, 30,000 of the gold. 300,000 silver, that's it. They cap it at that. So everyone goes, I've got to get the limited edition one. Must grab it. And I just, while you were talking, I actually pulled up the mintage numbers for previous issues. Now, we do have. No, it's not a declared mintage for the Tiger yet.
Yeah.
There's still sales to date. So declared mintage for the Ox. So 300,000 of the 1 ounce sold out. The 2 ounce, 37,503.
Oh, really? Wow. That's a staggering difference. That's like a 15% of the 1 ounce mintage.
So we go back to the mouse, the 2020 mouse. Mm-hmm. This one's a little bit skewed because they didn't get all 300,000 of the 1 ounce mouse made because of COVID and the production issues. So there was 259,272 1 ounce made, but there was only 18,746 2 ounce made. We go back to, let's go back a couple so we get out of COVID. So let's go back to the monkey. Hey, where are the monkeys? No, let's come back forward a bit more. So 2019 is the pig. So the pig, again, they sold out on the 1 ounce. So this is 2019.
Yep.
On the 2 ounce, 30,584. That was probably the last clear year that Perth Mint had a good run with production. So you can see they're far less there. Now, you can argue the point that it doesn't matter how many they produce because the 1 ounce is more popular. That argument is absolutely there. But what happens when people have bought the 1 ounce? They've completed they don't even have to complete their collection. I've bought the 1 ounce. I want to get some more, but I'm going to get other sizes. So now they start hunting out the half ounce, the 2 ounce, the 5 ounce, and so on. So I find initially the 1 ounce does better. So the first 12 to 18 months, possibly 2 years, the 1 ounce does better. But after that, you usually find the 2, not so much the half, although that's actually my favourite. The 2 and the 5 ounce, you usually find that they do far better after that kind of 18-month mark because people are trying to complete their collections or add to their collections. And you can't go into your bullion dealer anymore and say, can I have a 2 ounce, pig? Because we sold out years ago. So the only option is to go into the collector's market, and to peel coins out of the collector's market is notoriously difficult, and the only way you can do it is to offer ridiculous prices. So I would argue the 2 ounce and the 5 ounce do far better than the 1 ounce over the longer term.
No, I actually didn't know that the disparity in mintage was that significant. That makes me feel very excited about 2 ounces moving forward. Although I already did quite enjoy them. I feel like the 5 ounce needs to have the fact that at a glance the 5 ounce and the 2 ounce are almost interchangeable. I don't like that. You need to continue with that style of,
I think they made a mistake when they got rid of the 10 ounce Luna.
Because that's a perfect size.
So they've kept it with the Kookaburra, but they dropped it with a Luna and didn't replace it. They kept the 5 ounce, they dropped the 10 ounce. I think they should have gone the other way. Because you're right.
The 5 is that middle ground. The 10, the 10 actually is the middle ground between your 1 to your kilo.
The 10 ounce is the difference. Like you said, your 2 ounce and your 5 in the shop, I have to check the reverse, the obverse. I have to check to make sure that I'm actually giving the person the right one, because they are different, but they're not that much different.
No, they're not. And because it sounds silly, but when you in the context of the shop and there's coins everywhere, you always got to check.
So whereas the 10 ounce was different, like it was a good chunk different to a 2 or a 5. So it didn't hurt that I collected all the 10 ounces and the mongrel stopped. So there's a little bit of self-interest here. But I think they would have been better off going with the 10 ounce. But even still, the 2 and the 5, absolutely, we see longer term. And if you go on eBay, you can judge this one for yourself. Unfortunately, the half ounce doesn't seem to run hard, even though it has more limited numbers than the 1 ounce as a rule.
I also like the size. I really, I'm big on the half ounce. It's a really the fact that they get the whole design nicely in there. It doesn't feel squished at all. I actually think they do a great job.
And I actually like the Series 1. I think it is better because the half ounce coin is actually smaller and thicker.
Oh, really?
Than the Series 2 and 3.
Oh,
I'm fairly sure that's correct. I may stand corrected.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so, I actually have a fairly extensive, don't tell my wife, a fairly extensive half ounce silver collection that doubles up many, many, many times because I can't resist a nice half ounce lunar coin.
Yeah, good stuff.
But I mean, if we go back to the mintage figures again, and I'm only back in 2021 with the Ox. So again, half ounce is 88,197. So even though they're unlimited and they're advertised as unlimited, they actually only make them for that 12-month period from kind of August through to August, the following August, when they release the next one. In fact, it's less than that. It's from the July, August through to the following June because they shut down production at the end of June. So once that production has finished, they effectively destroy the dies and they don't produce them anymore. So it's only what's ordered throughout that year and they manage to actually make that's actually produced. So even though they're unlimited, they are still very limited, and I would argue they're even more limited.
I think we need to when we get Lucas down to Melbourne, maybe we take him out for a night on the town and persuade him to present the idea of, then this is such a great idea. At the end of the Lunar series, do a 10 ounce silver and just put all the animals on it.
Yeah, I'd buy it.
For the 10 ounce enthusiasts such as yourself, give me all. Yeah, if you're not going to do it for every single coin, just do it one off and have that larger planchet. All 12, one coin. See you soon, Lucas.
It's a winner.
Yep.
Alrighty. Dr. Bullion, gents, do you only pay spot for 10 kilo tiger? If you have a 10 kilo tiger that you would like to sell back to me, come and talk to me and we'll see what we can organise. It looks like the website might be back up and running again.
Yeah, I just had a look. It's working fine.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully they've solved the problem long term, not short term like we did last night. Absolutely, if we could get Lucas to do the Australian Myths and Legends.
Yeah, look out.
Mate, commissioning coming your way. What else have we got in there?
Are we getting more of the Tudor Beast series?
Yeah, when they're available, we will.
Ah, very good.
So they, Royal Mint, I'm hoping the boys in Berlin will actually give us more information, but Royal Mint seems to have gone a bit quiet on them. I don't know if that's pushback from some quality control issues.
Yeah, there were a couple of those.
Or, you know, it could just be the fact that Christmas is in the way or something like that, you know, and they've shut production down. But yeah, I don't know. They've gone a bit quiet on it. Are there many coins with a concave dish? Saw one once, and the way the dish made the design pop out made me wonder why you don't see more.
That is a very good question. I think this is probably a bit of a bugger to make.
Yeah, but they still make heaps of them. Because
they do.
That's your pied fit you were talking about just before, really, isn't it?
We're talking about the domed ones. Yeah, I think, geez. I don't know if we've had this conversation. The Royal Australian Mint did it for the lunar coins. I don't think that has any bearing whatsoever on the subject matter. I think the coin, if you're going to do a unique design, I think there needs to be... Are you
talking about domed or are you talking about concave?
It's the same thing.
No,
turn a concave coin upside down, you got a dome. What are you talking about?
Well, Ram
am I missing here?
Ram did those domed coins. Were they night sky?
Like the Northern Skies,
Northern
Southern
Skies, that's it. So they did the domed coin, so that's one thing. But like Perth Mint does the concave coin. You know, like we've got one just out there. It's do you want to grab it, Deej? Can you? Because I'm going to. I can probably do it.
The LCS coin or something like that.
Ben's packed it.
Yeah, I was about to say he did.
Can't actually grab it because
Ben's I know what you're talking about. Like with the
the barrier reef.
Yeah.
So the barrier reef coin.
That was super cool.
So
okay,
it does,
because it's totally different beasts.
Particularly on larger coins like the barrier reef we're talking about. It's actually a 2 kilo silver coin.
And that was a super high relief. That looked great.
We did a video on that. 18 months, 2 years ago. So if you go back into the Bullion Now channel, you could actually have a look at it. And I encourage you to do it. It's a beautiful coin. But because it's a decent disc size...
It was a 2 kilo.
Yeah, it was. They can really carve into it. And then you almost get a 3-dimensional coin because the base of it is carved in, concave, and then they actually draw the design out. So it really, really, really pops. I really like those coins.
I agree. Oh, I did get a bit of support in the chat. Immortal C. Very true, Matt. Concave dome. Same.
No.
But I did misunderstand what we were talking about.
Go back to physics.
I appreciate the support.
It's a convex coin is your dome coin. A concave is not a dome coin.
John's got your back, Michael. Convex and concave.
What was the question?
Unbelievable. Do they make many of them?
Which one? What are we talking about? They're two very different things, guys.
The concave coin.
So
the one that goes inwards, not the one that comes outwards.
Like the two
like
kilo.
The high relief.
Yeah, that's more of a Perth Mint style than I don't think the Ram does a heap in that sense. No. They do. Yeah, they do the more full dome shape, which I think is really cool. But I also think it's overused. It's, you know what? Sort of like the rectangular coins from the Perth Mint, like the rectangle. I stick to one, like just the dragon. Don't do the kangaroo as well. It's got to be.
You and I are going to disagree on this one.
And I'm gonna ride this wave. I think they should have just stuck only with the dragon as a rectangle.
I think they should get rid of the round kangaroo and replace it with the rectangular kangaroo.
It's a more interesting design, if you ask me. So I actually agree with Michael on that one.
Yeah. It's not a coin because it's not...
It's a bar, yeah. You don't need a year on it.
Yeah.
Okay, ditch the dragon. Stop doing rectangular dragons. Only, just make it special.
Wow, you're really, really going to fire people up because there's a lot of love for the rectangular dragon.
And I'm one of those people. I love it as well, but I like the idea of something being distinctly... Like, if I see a rectangle, I know, that will be a kangaroo before I've even seen it. I like things having an affiliation with a particular style, like the triangular shipwreck coins.
Yeah.
I see a triangular bullion coin. I know it's going to be one of the shipwreck series, and I love that about it. That it doesn't get you. They don't just then apply it to something else. Although I just realised they did do that. There's a number of triangular proofs out there. So like, yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah, I might just take a break. I'm in a hole. I'm still digging.
Yeah, goat does not support you at all.
No, that's fair. I sort of lost my momentum. I sort of lost my direction with my thought there.
In all honesty, I kind of like it how with the rectangulars, there's almost like a sense of surprise when you open it. Like, it could be the kangaroo or the dragon, because each one is equally loved, if I'm not mistaken. Well, more for the dragon, mainly because they change it.
Yeah, no, look, if they produce the kangaroo properly in enough numbers, yeah, you're right. The dragon would be more popular of the two. But anytime we have buyback rectangular kangaroos in, because Perth hasn't made them for a couple of years now, they're red hot. Like, they're straight out the door. People love them.
They should do that as a gold.
The kangaroo is a gold.
I guess that's a minted bar though, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar.
They actually call their minted bars kangaroo bars.
Yeah.
So it would take a bit to bend their brain around that. But I agree. I think that design into a gold bar, I think it actually looked pretty good.
Yeah. All right. I'll allow it. You can have 2 rectangular designs.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. What other questions have we got? Can we sweep this under the rug?
Somebody asked about the buyback silver video that we released this morning or this afternoon. If it's up on the video, up on the website, it is. If it's not there, it's because it's already sold out.
Well, I didn't see a link in that video. I only had a glance at the buyback video.
Yeah, we intentionally didn't link, which was probably a bit stupid, but because we weren't 100% sure, and as we said on the video, some of this may have already gone by the time we get it live.
Because people click the link 1 second into the video. They've already clicked the link, so you've thrown off the scent.
Well, we kind of didn't know which links to attach to it, so...
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of a bit...
There were a few different bibs and bobs. I'll be honest. There was people in the shop. I didn't watch the whole video. So what was the setup? We had a variety of bars.
Yeah, like there was everything from 1 ounce coins through to 5 kilo bars in there.
Oh,
and
nice.
everything in between.
Yep.
So we grabbed a selection. It wasn't one buyback. It was actually, I don't know, it was probably half a dozen different buybacks.
Yep.
But we kind of gathered it together because, as Ruben was saying, Ruben's the one that actually drove this one. He's saying, we get so many people saying, what type of stuff do you get in buyback?
Yeah.
He kind of just grabbed a whole stack of everything and just said, this is a small sample of the sort of range that we get in.
Yeah, it's not just a line that we spin that, it is a lucky dip. It could truly be anything.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, I had a customer in the other day, and they asked about buyback kilo bars.
Yep.
And they said, "What do you have?" And I thought, what do we have? Let's actually get it out. And I think I had 9 different brands that I randomly picked off the top, sort of thing.
Yep.
There was 9 different brands that I laid out on the table in front of him. They were newbies, so we don't normally do that sort of stuff. But they were new people. They were trying to, bend their brain around how do I invest in silver? What's the best value for money? Different types. So I'd actually got, this is a pad bar. This is why it's more. This is a Perth Mint. This is a locally produced. This is a buyback. And the buyback's a lucky dip. You could get any one of these types of things in any condition. So, it was kind of a show and tell.
I love doing that, giving the explanation as to, these are the different brands, that all from different refineries all over the world. And then they say, all right, well, if I buy this one, I'll get more when I sell it back. And I say, you wouldn't read about it. All the exact same price is what I'll pay for any of these bars. You get we get some interesting stuff, but it's all spot when it comes back through, which is very important to be mindful of when you get carried away sometimes, as I often do.
Look, I know, but sometimes you have people in the store and they say, well, why would I pay more for a premium bar like a Germania or a PAMP or that? And sometimes I find it difficult to actually explain why. Because at the end of the day, if your intent is just to sell it back to us, you go for the cheapest lump you can.
Well, I think it's kind of, it comes back psychologically to when people pay for, you get your new car, you get the $2,000 optional extra interior. Why? Oh, it's got a racing stripe down the side of the seat.
Yes.
Does it make the car go faster? No, it's a different color, or it doesn't actually change anything. And if you go to sell it, I'm sure they're not going to say, has it got the racing stripe on the interior? Because, look out.
Yeah.
But I think red equals faster. Everyone knows that.
This is true, Deej, but I like the idea of there is an aspect, I think, like I've said, there's two distinctly different schools of thought that I think you have to have in your own brain, which is put your collector hat on and get the things that make you happy, which is ultimately my main driver. And then you need to have that logical, far less exciting part of your brain that purely just goes for your as cheap as possible. Get, accumulate as much metal as you can, as close to spot as you can. But I find it's interesting because at the outset, and I'm living proof of it, the collector mentality is great and you have a lot of fun, and that gives me a sustained I enjoy looking at my collectible coins and what have you, but that pragmatic just going for, and for me it was locally produced bars. It was when I was a customer here, banging on the door, irritating Ruben on a regular basis. I was just getting locally produced kilos regularly, and I just thought this is a thought out strategy that I've decided to pursue. And then when that time came, when buy a house, I had access to that capital, and off I went. And that was, like big picture, that was more beneficial to me, arguably, than some of my collector coins, which give me a great deal of joy. But I get the best of both worlds. There's nothing wrong with either approach when done within reason.
I think it's good to have both approaches because you need some stack. If it comes back to your intent. If your intent is purely to sell it back to a bullion dealer like Bullion Now, you buy the cheapest you can because you're going to lose that premium over spot. So minimise that premium over spot. But if you're taking it overseas, then you would absolutely pay the extra premium because it's far easier to sell your gold when it's got a brand name if you're in a foreign environment. It's not that you can't sell the cheaper stuff, it's just that stage more difficult. You've also got the sleep at night factor. Some people would rather... 2 minutes on the internet, you know everything about the Perth Mint. But you could spend hours on the internet and you're still not going to find out much information about Siltec, about XAG, about, those other kind of, local refineries that don't tend to push their brands because they're a no-name brand, cheap and cheerful product.
Yep.
So some people prefer that. You can always, I would also argue, if you're buying the premium product, it opens up the second-hand market far more.
Yeah.
So you can take your PAMP and, okay, Bullion Now is only going to pay you spot for it, and you've paid far over that. But if you take your PAMP to one of the online forums, if you take your PAMP down to a Silver Stackers meeting, the people there will be able to go, well, that's a PAMP. I can buy that from Bullion Now, and I'm making up numbers at the moment, but I can buy that from Bullion Now at spot plus 80. Bullion Now is only going to give you spot. How about we split the difference and you get spot plus 40 for it? So you're not going to lose all of that premium in a worst case scenario if you're selling it into the secondary market anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
Horses for courses.
Yeah, that was a good question. I don't remember what it was, but anything that sparks a little bit of ramble like that is always a good bit of fun.
Excellent.
Will they do a super pit 1 kilo this year? Have they ever done a 1 kilo super pit?
No, they have not.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I have asked them about it, but I haven't got a positive response on that one yet. We should get.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was our buddy Lucas. So
yeah, that's right.
I'll have to have a chat.
Go and twist some arms, you reckon?
Yeah, we need to get him down here. I think he's hanging out for the invitation.
Here we go. This is an interesting one. Everyday prospect and carry on. Feels like I've been watching YouTube videos for years now saying silver is going to the moon. Still doesn't seem to be happening. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's it's a really great marketing tool because I think we as humans are driven often, whether you like it or not, by fear. And I often find that if I'm presented with because when you log into YouTube, you get, say, 8 thumbnails that pop out at you. One could say, what are things I enjoy about silver stacking? One could say, here's my silver collection. And one says, in big red letters, silver going to $1,000, imminent, click here, must watch. Yeah. And I think, well, gee, hang on, that's giving me a bit of a sense of urgency. And whether you like it or not, you can look at a lot of the channels that do promote that type of thing and see that those videos do extraordinarily well. And for some people, YouTube is a business, like it's a stream, a revenue stream, a very legitimate one, and that drives it. So the more clicks you get, like news articles, like when you go on news.com and a celebrity walked down the street, nothing remarkable happened, but they'll frame it as, you wouldn't read about it, this celebrity did this incredibly scandalous thing. You know, they jaywalked on Swanston Street, but it's framed as, you should click now and read this article because this is full on, you need to be in the loop. And I think that people sometimes take that approach, which, I don't know, I'm not into it, and I think it gets overdone, but I think when you're in the industry and every day is a conversation about bullion with people, it can get a little exhausting, and I think you get, I get viewer fatigue as well, because when I started out in the industry, that was, and still is, a lot of those videos do have great information within it, but the way that you get hooked in, and some of the content they discuss is a bit, I guess you'd say pie in the sky. Like it's you're speaking in a hypothetical world, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said once upon a time that you wouldn't actually want to be around in a world with, you know, gold at $50,000 an ounce or something like that. Because if that were to happen, and those videos say, oh, you know, this could happen, they're not addressing the actual state of the world where that has been facilitated. So, I don't really like that kind of thing, and I think it can give people and because we see it. Like I see the after effects when I interact with people that come into the store that say, oh, I've watched a few YouTube videos and I haven't slept and I'm really panicked and I need to start.
Yeah, I want to buy $400,000 worth of silver right this second because I'm about to miss out. And you're thinking, hey, just take a deep breath. No, it's got to be today. It's got to be today.
Because they said it's imminent. There was a picture of a rocket on the screen and it said, this is your silver holding. It's gonna be a rocket to the moon. Yeah. It's gonna be the next Bitcoin. And I think, you should do a little more research and, you know, maybe, whilst we're not financial advisors, but we've always advocated for people to do your own research, but even watch some videos that say that precious metals are a garbage investment and see what they've got to say. Don't just click on all the stuff that supports your initial way of thinking because, that can be just as harmful when you get down that rabbit hole. And
it's really difficult as a retailer, no matter how honest we proclaim to be, and we do proclaim to be, right out there and as honest as we can. When somebody's offering you $400,000 and they need to spend it right this second, it takes a lot of kahunas to say, mate, just calm down, settle down.
Yep.
You don't need to spend it all today here. Because you know that if he goes next door, they're going to say, no worries, here you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's, it's like you got to go, okay, let's all calm down for a second and let's talk this one through.
Yep.
And there's a couple of comments on there that people have made where the algorithms don't help you with this. Because if you Google it or you look up or you watch a video that says silver's going to the moon, now for the next 6 weeks, every time you click on there, all you hear is silver's going to the moon, silver's going to the moon. That's all that'll pitch, all the algorithm will pitch at you.
Yep.
So you're reading it or you're yelling into an echo chamber. I don't like these calls of silver going to $500 or $1,000 or gold to $50,000 and that because we haven't consistently got through $50 an ounce yet. Let's work our way through that one. And I always go back to, this is many years ago, I was reading the Australian Financial Review and they had this big article on the front page and it was, house prices to, go to a gazillion dollars.
Mm.
And I read it all and went, wow, this is amazing, got to get in. And I turned the page and I'm not kidding you, on the back, on the opposite page, on the opposite side, was this big half-page article on why house prices were about to plummet.
Yeah.
And this is in the same newspaper. And I'm like, well, how can they have believed both things? And it was that point I kind of went, okay, this is, you've really got to do your research. You've got to work out where you think it's going to go. And you need to read, and I'm a big fan of reading things that completely and utterly disagree with your opinion. And quite often, my wife accuses me of this all the time of, I'm just making these comments to generate an argument. And it's not. I'm testing my theories quite often.
Yeah.
I want to know what you believe because I can sit here going, well, that differs to mine. Is their point valid? And quite often it is. And you think, okay, well, then what's my point? Well, I believe this. Well, you can't believe both. So what's the challenge between those two? And it sharpens your ideas and it makes you realise why you believe what you believe or why you should change what you believe. So, particularly when it comes to investing in precious metals, I can't encourage you enough to talk to people who think you're an idiot
Yeah.
and find out why. And if all they can say is, well, because it's stupid, well, that's not an argument.
Yep.
But if they can say, well, look, these are the reasons. Why isn't it going to $500 an ounce? Well, I can give you perfectly coherent arguments as to why silver will not go to $500 an ounce this year. Because silver is a byproduct of all production, all mining production that they pretty much do. If you mine for gold, you're going to find silver. If you mine for copper, you're going to find silver. So it's always a byproduct. It's always going to be produced no matter what price silver is at. It's the same as dirt is produced in the operation. They don't stop making, like mining for gold, because dirt is a byproduct. And if they could sell it, they would. Silver they can sell, even if they're only getting $1 an ounce for it. So these scarcity arguments have holes in them. There are quite a lot of large silver mines out there and more being discovered. There's a large one coming online in South Australia at the moment. So there is silver out there. There is not a shortage. We're seeing production lines. I got offered 10 tonne of silver from one of the refineries the other day. There is plenty of silver out there. There is no reason for it to go to $500 an ounce tomorrow. We could have this argument all day and go back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, though, because I think it's very easy to get swept up in that. And I think you're right with the algorithm favouring when you start to look into those videos, because the comment section is loaded with, the comment section becomes an echo chamber. And I think this is an interesting conversation for us to be having, given that we are literally a bullion channel. And,
what are we saying?
and
Silver's going to $500 an ounce. Buy now.
And literally a business. Because a lot of those places aren't businesses. It's people that are, by comparison, they're investors themselves. And I think it's almost like that positive manifestation. If I say it enough and enough people believe it, it'll start to happen. But
I'll show my bush pig for a second, and this is completely not allowed to be said these days. But it's like no one admits they ever have an ugly girlfriend or an ugly car. It's because you don't you've bought it. You're never going to admit this is a bad decision. Yeah. So you positively reinforce it with every comment that you make. I apologise if I've offended anyone by those statements, but I mean it's a fact of life. You're not going to do that. So you've got to look at the attitude of both the commenters or the reason they're saying it, and also the people that are actually doing these videos. Like some of them are bullion dealers. Tell me it's not in our best interest to say you've got to buy it now because silver's going to the moon.
Yeah.
You've got to look at if you're a bullion dealer or if they're a YouTube maker, whatever that's called, a YouTube person. They want those clickbaity type of headlines out there to get you to click on it. So look at what you're doing. Wow, did we go down the rabbit hole then?
Have you got any questions, Deej? Anything coming through on the chat?
I know there was a couple of stock questions like germanium mint products. Are we getting more of those in? I saw that was a bit further back.
Yeah, we're definitely getting those in. Look, we're actually coming out of the other side of it, but January is a bit December and January are a bit painful when it comes to supplies, because not only do we stop ordering things because you don't want them locked up in customs or on the water or in the air or anything like that over that Christmas period, but also you have the changeover between a lot of the 22 stuff and the 23 stuff in this case from the next year. So quite often you can't order things. So that tends to start happening in your October, November, but it starts playing out in December, January, where you find that there's very little stock kicking around. Our orders have started flowing through again. The deliveries have started flowing through again. So we're starting to see those, things like, Valcambi start to arrive and things like that all flowing through the system. So hopefully over the next month to 6 weeks, you'll see more and more new things coming through.
Good stuff. We're getting any different stuff? Germania or Scottsdale? Getting any of those? They do a lot of cool coins.
Yes is the short answer.
Yeah, nice. About time. Been hanging out for some of that stuff.
Hey, we just got Libertads in.
Oh, spare me. they don't do it for me. They never have.
I don't think Matt wants to spend like $600 for an ounce.
Yeah, look. But even so, regardless of even removing the pricing component, Libertad's always been a bit overrated.
Oh,
it's no maple. It's no Canadian maple.
Oh, listen to it.
Chat just absolutely fire up.
And clip.
Yeah.
Roswell, what's in the odds and ends box at BN Now? There's 2 boxes sitting in my flaming office full of odds and ends, and I keep falling over the boxes. And I've been doing it for probably 4 or 5 weeks now. And I said to Adam this morning, we've really got to go through these boxes, sort out what there is, and get them sold. So yeah, there's heaps of stuff. There's one of those Scottsdale tombstone bars in there.
Oh, really? Wow. I've seen
And
those for a while.
yeah, and one of the Scottsdale minted bars, which look fantastic.
Con's going to be stoked with you saying all this on a stream.
Yeah, please don't phone in or email in about them because I haven't even been able to check the condition of them yet, so they might be beaten up to hell.
Yeah.
And absolutely no use to anyone at any sort of price. So, don't they haven't been processed yet. Don't stress. Everyday prospect again. You guys should expand into natural gold nuggets. I'm a prospector and always find it hard to find an avenue to sell natural gold, but very collectible. It absolutely is, and we actually have, about 50, 60, 70 nuggets sitting in the
Yeah, remember that?
safe.
Remember that when it was always like next week we'll do that video and you filmed the video as well.
We filmed the video.
That was like back in Joe days.
Yeah, they must have been sitting in the safe for over 12 months. We're talking 18 months.
Just collecting
at least.
dust, yeah. They're just getting rarer.
They don't go out of date.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to have the out-of-date special on our gold nuggets before they go bad.
Yeah.
No,
While they're
so
still
yeah, we do
shiny.
have them. Look, nuggets are a mongrel thing to deal in because of purities. You can never find the purity of a nugget without melting it down because
Yeah.
it's so patchy all over the place. It's very hard to find the weight of a nugget because they're quite often attached to a bit of quartz or some other rubbish. They're a really hard thing to deal in.
But they look great and they photograph beautifully. So therefore, when can we see this nugget video?
When we work out how we're going to
You're
process
going
it
to have
properly.
to set up all the SKUs for them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare.
See, that's the thing, because Michael says these things, and then people try and give Con a call and say, "All right, what's the go? Can I order some?" There are so many. It's like the duck in the water.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone's got to go around, set up SKUs, work out how to charge for them, you're gonna have to work out what the cost was for them way back when.
Yeah,
What a treat.
There's all sorts of problems with it. So yeah, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But we do have some stock there.
Yeah, that will make for a cool video
Yeah.
when it finally happens.
Well, it did make for a cool video, but we're going to have to reshoot it because it's out of date
yeah.
now.
Oh, good stuff.
Fun. Nuggets do incur GST. So that was one of the questions that just flicked across my screen. What else have we got in there?
Talking about nuggets, can we expect a new Perth Mint nugget coin this year?
Yes.
What
Yep.
will it be? Because they've all
there's-
been not reproductions, like references to the previous Nugget series. So are we due for a particular?
Well, we've only done 4 of the 5. There was 5 in the series.
So what's the 5th?
If you give me long enough, I'll remember. But it's whatever the 5th largest nugget was that's been found in Australia.
Did we see it on our tour of the Mint?
We probably did, but I didn't pay
Yeah,
any attention
you
to
just,
it.
head in the clouds, thinking about the 1-ton coin.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever. You know what they should do? Melt that coin down and reproduce it in 1 ounce coins. 1,000 1-ounce coins of that coin with the same design. You're welcome, Perth.
But then what are they going to display?
Replica. I don't know. I haven't thought that far into it, but they need it. Wouldn't that be great?
Come and see the clay mould of a 1-ton coin. Excellent.
That'd be incredible. I'd love to see the
actual
yeah,
mould
like
that they used.
because that all had to be done to scale. It wasn't like they.
Yeah, but they probably destroyed it in the making. It was probably
Yeah, that checks out.
yeah.
Even you show me the remains. There's so much stuff that I
So
think
they
would
could
be,
just have a bowl of clay dust there, and
I'd be floored. I'd love it. It doesn't take
very
much.
easy to amuse this one.
Is the 5th gold nugget Lady Hotham?
No, look, I can't. I'm guessing. I'd have to go back and.
But they did do the whole 5. It was in the 1980s, wasn't it? Late 80s, the series, the Nugget series. So go look at that, and you'll.
I'm not even sure they did 5 for that series, but there's 5 in this series.
I think there was. It was a fractional set. Hang on, didn't you do a video? Didn't you do a?
Yeah, but that didn't. Crap. No, I can't remember.
We're down a rabbit hole.
Sorry. Yeah, I should know better. Somebody's asking about the tails. I can't find what the question was, but we will have tails back in very early next week. Yeah, give me till Wednesday. But yeah, we should have them in. We've got the silver ones, just not the gold ones.
Apparently people are hankering for this gold safe video of yours.
The gold safe video.
Yeah, what's this?
Yeah, I keep seeing it come up.
The safe test.
Oh, the gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we've got to wait till the end of fire season around the area because obviously, while I could get a permit to set fire to a big bonfire pile at the moment, I would feel far safer once the rains come in. So,
Go on, just get your garden hose next to you.
yeah.
No worries.
I'll see. I've grown up in bushfires, mate. I'm not in a hurry to repeat the experience. So, yeah, we will do it, but it won't be until winter down this way. We have started building the bonfire pile for it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wheels are in motion.
We
That'd
had
be
a couple
good.
of trees come down at home, so they've all been carved up, dragged off. So, yeah, all good fun. How many different 1 ounce gold coins does Perth Mint produce in a single year?
Oh. I'm going to say 30.
Even the foggiest.
I was just guessing as well.
Yeah, lots. And it depends.
I
Are
don't
you
know.
just
Bullion
meaning
proof,
bullion ones
yeah.
or proofs? Or because not all proof designs make it to the bullion arena and not all the bullion designs make it to the proof arena. So there's not always crossover between the two.
Yeah. 30 is my guess. You'd be able to work it out if you went back through and...
Perth Mint would tell you. I'm sure they'd know. But yeah, don't ask me.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, can't. That's not one I can answer. We should probably start wrapping this up.
Yeah, it's
We
been a
could do
good
this all
session.
day, but we're probably, people are probably fading fast on us. So, what's happening next week, mate?
I don't know. Dude, I'll give you, geez, come in remotely.
So next week's going to be fairly exciting.
Oh,
for
actually,
everyone all
yeah.
around.
It's got
So
non-stop.
Matt's going to have a new member of the family.
Yeah.
I have to actually go into hospital and get operated on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's next week.
Jeez.
So
Is anyone going to be here? It's
Well,
going to be
I don't know, yeah,
skeleton stuff.
No, we got heaps here. So it's only Matt and I that are missing next week. Oh, and Ruben. Ruben's still going to be in the UK. So
Yeah.
we actually don't think we're going to have a live stream next Friday, but we'll see what happens. So keep half an ear out, but we may not be able to do it. I'll be in recovery. It sounds dramatic to say I'm having a heart operation, which is what I'm having, but it's actually a very minor heart operation, so don't get too excited. It sounds far worse than it is. So yeah, I won't be here. Matt won't be here. DJ, you going to be here next week?
Hopefully.
So it'll be the DJ show next week. Yeah, so it will be good. But we'll still have videos coming at you all week. There's still some more coming out of Berlin, even though the money show has finished. The guys have moved on to the UK and they're filming a bit of stuff there
cool.
with Baird and some others coming through, I believe, which is all fantastic. There are some videos coming through from here. We've had a couple of controversial ones that we've shot, so hopefully we'll be able to get those prepared and ready for release next week. We've also got some unboxings coming for next week. So there is the unboxing of the one of the 2023 coins from the States. Which one's that?
What, from the States? I don't know, and they really do. It could be any of them.
No, sorry, it's from Armenia. It's the Noah's Ark.
Ah,
2023 Noah's Ark has
same
arrived.
design? Are they changing it?
I haven't opened it
Oh,
up
well,
yet,
we'll
so I
wait and
can't
see.
even
Yeah.
answer that
Watch
one.
this space.
And the 2023 Royal Australian Mint Silver Rabbit.
Cool.
So we've finally got those in stock. That took us a bit longer than we'd hoped,
Yep.
but they are here. So that unboxing is coming next week, amongst a lot of other things. So hit the like, share, subscribe. Tune in next week. It will be as exciting as ever. That's it from me.
And from me.
Have a good one, guys.
See ya.
See